Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with the qualifying round win for the Eastern Classics tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Before we start, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guide for Master and or Expert and Pro by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do have a new schedule which will make the guides be released earlier than what we had before, and we will continue to help more than 700 players that play Masters on a monthly basis to improve and succeed in the toughest division in the game. So make sure you get your package and try it out. You will not be disappointed. Make sure that you use the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that these are all suggestions and you don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. Let's go to hole number 1. A massive warning for the blast shot, which we're going to start at looking at. You start by stretching out your target to be just centered on the fairway pad. 5 bars of top spin, 1 bar of right spin. And once that is done, we shall adjust for maximum distance plus 10. And the reason I say this is a massive warning is that if you don't have enough tailwind angle, you will go down into the water regardless of what wind strength you're having. Now, I do have a very big tailwind angle on this shot, which adjusts myself down to all the way to plus 18, which is a really good number. I would say like this: if you aren't below plus 25 after your adjustment, then you should not play this shot, because the risk of getting into the water is massive. And how to determine that then? That is something that you're going to have to do very quickly, or just in somewhat go based by what your gut feeling tells you. Because look how close we are to the rough line there. Sure, I'm playing with a Berserker and playing with a Snow Globe would give me a better carry as I do have more wind. But again, it doesn't change the fact that this is a very risky shot, especially when the wind angle is going to change. Now I know there's probably some of you that are watching this thinking, oh, I made it 5 out of 5 times. Yeah, sure, but it doesn't change the fact that if having more crosswind on this shot, then you will, like, I can promise you that you will drop that shot into the water and not land with your first bounce on the pad, because that's just how it works. If you don't have enough tailwind, you will not reach. And if you want to take a safe route, which has a money adjustment with a perfect for the second shot, then you shall in that case lay up, which I recommend, and that is what we're gonna take a look at now. So for the layup option, we shall be playing a no movement drive, so don't touch the target until it's time to adjust the rings. 0.8 bars of top spin, 1 bar of left spin. Have in mind that this shot is possible to play with a Centurion or a Kingslayer as well, and obviously any other type of Win 4 power 3 balls that do have side spin 1. 0.75 ball curl to the left. Hit perfect, no overpower, no push up, very simple adjustment. Now we're looking to get to around 345 yards. So we get to 344 yards, that's perfect, because now we're going to find complete minimum distance. And here you can see that I do have the Falcon. I would recommend you to pack the Runner to make sure to find the minimum distance line in a much easier way. So go to complete minimum distance and then apply backspin to let the ball guideline to go just through the hole. Make sure that you want to get it through the hole and not short of hole, because if short of hole, then you're going to most likely stop short. Minimum distance with a 35% over adjustment is what we're gonna play. Power 2 ball settings. Even if we play with a power 3 ball, we shall be using power 2 ball settings. That is very important, otherwise you will miss. Adjustment is made, and now it's time to hit perfect. And I would say every time I've hit perfect on this shot so far, it has dropped. That is the same for the team, and that is the same for the feedback that we have received. So this layup option is absolutely money. Very simple all the way through, and we can just find minimum distance line to get it to drop. So this is recommended, not the blast option, but the blast option is there for those of you that do want to take a risk and could be rewarded for that, but you can also be, you know, punished for it as well. Hole number 2, we do have direct headwind. Here you are in a massive advantage if you do have Apocalypse level 7 or 8, because then you're going to be easily over in whatever wind you're going to be presented with. If you do have an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, I would recommend to always go with a power 5 wind 4 ball, or to go with a power 4 wind 5 ball. Any of the twos will work beautifully. However though, Apocalypse 5 is always going to be risky and something to have in mind. What I do here is that I add spin, and then I go and start just before the +1 yard mark with a 240 yard driver. And once I found that spot with the ball guideline center on the other fairway, I adjust max +10. So if I have a low wind, for example, I won't be adjusting up to complete max. And then I actually leave it there and go with max overpower from there. It means that I have a slight slower needle, and especially with balls like the Megalodon or the Turkey ball from 2021 here, then obviously playing with those balls, the needle speed is absolutely crap, and then it helps not being complete max. Obviously you can play with a Thor's Hammer as well. Thor's Hammer 6, 7 and 8 is going to be sufficient. Sure, you're going to have to go with overpower, but you have the top spin on those clubs, which will help you get over. So make sure that you pack the correct clubs, and I would recommend to pack the Amazon in your bag if you do make a really bad drive and end up into the rough on the other side. Second shot is played like normal. We're gonna play down towards the green. I'm playing in this case with 7 bars of topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right. And my plan here now, honestly, is not to do anything special. My plan is to just get the ball down to green. Like, either on green or just be by the green. Maximum distance +10 is my base adjustment, but obviously if you have a very long drive, you might get a glitch rollout on the drive, then might reduce the adjustment a little bit because you're not going to be that close to max distance. So something that you're going to have to just adapt on the fly. 1 ball of curl to the right is what we're using, and once again, I'm not pushing this one to go for the pin. I'm pushing this one to get to the green or to just be by the green to lock in the eagle on a very boring hole when we do have headwind. For hole number 3, we're going to start to find the position before we add spin. Look, here I wiggle around left and right. We're looking to be just left of that massive funnel that we do have on the green. You can see there is the spot, and we have the ball guideline to be just 1/3 into the dark green square. Once finding that, we add half a bar of backspin and 0.2 bars of side spin to the right. Adjustment shall be medium distance with a 10% over adjustment power 3 ball settings, which is 1-to-1. So it's a very simple adjustment. So 7.3 rings for 7.3 miles per hour. Perfect ball. And you will notice now that the ball is going to bounce, and obviously bounce over the bunker and roll towards the pin, catching that funnel, and it rolls lovely straight at pin. This shot has dropped several times already, but I understand and I totally agree with the fact that the landing position is finicky and tough to find, but once you find it and if you hit perfect, you will have a good success with this shot. Hole number 4, we are going to play with a Kingslayer type of ball. We could also play with a Superstar ball, Centurion ball, you basically whatever Wind 4 Power 3 ball that you have 2 side spin. I'm going to use 7 bars of top spin combined with 2 bars of side spin to the right. My landing position is the following. I will be looking to have the target absolutely centered on the fairway in complete max distance. Once that is done, we apply maximum distance +10. Push up to max. And then we shall apply curl and overpower. If you play with Apocalypse 6, 7 and 8, you go with 2 rings of overpower always. And max curl to the right. If you play with Apocalypse level 5, we would recommend you to play with 3.5 rings of overpower instead. This to compensate for, obviously, the lesser amount of topspin being able to be used on Apocalypse level 5. We're looking to get up to 420 yards, because this is absolutely perfect. So 420 yards, and then we're going to play Falcon or Thorn or Hornet from absolute minimum distance. And what we will do though is that we will push up with the Falcon, in this case I push up 10 rings. Then I do apply a backspin to have the ball guideline go to the hole. Make sure that you're not in any glitchy spot, because that will obviously be a problem for you if that's going to happen. Once we have done that, we have the 10 rings from minimum distance with the Falcon level 8, which plays, in this case, it plays 6% slider. When it comes to Falcon level 7, 10 rings from min, plays 8% slider, and when it comes to Thorn level 9, 10 rings from min, plays 10% slider, and all of them should be played with minus 10% elevation, and that's going to drop. I honestly say that that's going to drop every single time. Let's say that you get a glitch roll on your drive and then get up into wedge range. What I would recommend to do then is to play from the +1 yard mark on your wedge all the time, and then only apply backspin to get the ball guideline to the hole, and then play max +30 in terms of adjustment. So hole number 4, in my opinion, is an absolute must eagle. Absolute money shot incoming. We're going to start by going 2 bars of side spin to the right and 0.6 bars top spin. Now, look at the bottom right of the red ring by the rough line, with half of the transparent ring outside on the fairway just before the green, so outside the rough. Ball guideline to go through the hole, and my recommendation is to turn the screen around a little bit more to the left so you can see the ball guideline in a better view. You can see that way. Once you have done that, you shall in that case adjust for maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment power 1 ball. You can play with whatever wind fireball that has a side spin 2. Adjusting for max +15 power 1. And center the ball, hit perfect, and honestly, due to the testing, once making this video, I'm 11 out of 11 from practice mode and real play. This is once again an absolute money shot and does not seem to be affected by different wind angles, and that is absolutely brilliant, because that shot that we're playing in there is played into a massive funnel. So play it and drop it. For hole number 6, we're gonna have some headwind, and this is going to be a difficult shot, and you need to be very focused on trying to hit perfect. 1 bar left spin, and I'm playing with 7 bars of top spin. Then we start at the +26 yard mark with the blue ring by the rough line with Apocalypse 7 and 8. Apocalypse level 5 and 6, half of the blue ring inside the rough to the left. Adjustment is gonna be a maximum distance +15. I would recommend to push your rings if you do have the possibility, because then the trees would otherwise be in your face. Go overpower based on how much overpower you adjust into. I adjusted 2 rings into overpower, and then you shall apply 2 rings of overpower to your shot. Perfect ball. And then we're gonna get the ball nicely down the fairway. One thing that I need to add with overpower as well, that if you play with Apocalypse level 5, you should add 1.5 ring extra to your adjustment. Sorry, 1.5 ring extra overpower, as you do only have 6 bars of topspin, where Apocalypse 6, 7, and 8 does have the full 7 bars. Second shot, I'm playing this one mainly just to green, to be honest. Sure, we could maybe, if spending loads of time on the practice, dial this one into a nice albatross attempt, but it's the qualifying round, and I'm not going to waste token on a very, very slim chance of getting an albatross. So I'm aiming way right of pin, making sure that I'm using backspin enough, which I do have on the Cataclysm in the high level. You can also play with the Guardian if you do have a Cataclysm in the low level, but you do have the Guardian level 8. 3/4 of the ball in curl to the left. A great right obviously will not help. But otherwise, with a perfect, we'll probably get ourselves a little bit closer at least to the pin. And, you know, again, I'm not expecting this one to drop for an albatross, but I expect myself to be on green for a very simple eagle. One thing to have in mind with the second shot is that if you do have a shorter drive than what I have, then you're going to have to go with overpower, and you always go overpower based on how much you adjust into for the second shot. Alright, hole number 7. Start with a power 5 ball. And I would recommend to start with the reef ball. To be more exact, because we want to have 0.1 bar topspin, like a 0.1, 0.2 bars of topspin once we have set up with a power 5 ball in absolute minimum distance with a quarterback ball guideline to the hole. What you can do if you don't have a reef ball is to do somewhat triple ball swap to make sure that you're not having any side spin on when you're adding the top spin, which is that you start with a berserker ball like I did, you change to a basic ball, add the top spin, and then you change to whatever Win 5 ball you may have. It doesn't matter what Win 5 ball it is, just that it is a Win 5 ball. Adjustment is medium distance with a 5% under adjustment power 3 ball settings. So what we will do then, I'm going to restart this video here now to just give you an idea of 2 different wind angles at least, is that once you turn around the screen and point the wind arrow to complete the north, we do have 3 rocks in our view, and I'm looking at the rock that is the most to the right, and you will notice that once we are about to start pulling our shot. And what I would like to say there, if we do have a more crosswind angle, which means that our wind arrow pointing more towards the right side of that rock, you can see the right side, you can see the rock there that I'm talking about. If it's pointing more towards the right side of that rock, you play exactly as explained, medium distance minus 5% power 3 numbers. If you do have the arrow to point left of the rock, which means that you have a little tailwind, then you shall deduct 0.1 to your adjustment. So you then play medium distance minus 5%, power 3 numbers, minus 0.1. Hole number 8, you want to play with a power 2, side spin 3, Win 5 ball if possible. And that's why I play with a NASCAR. You can also play with a frozen ball or any other ball with the same stat. 3 bars of side spin to the right, 3 bars of top spin starting at just plus a 5-yard mark with the red ring by the rough. If playing with Apocalypse 5 or 6, you go with 1/3 of the red ring inside the rough to the right. Adjustment is max plus 10, and then you shall be very focused on reading how many rings that you go into overpower with. If you go with 3 rings into overpower, then you shall in that case go with 2 rings of overpower with Apocalypse 7 and 8. If playing with Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, we recommend you to go with whatever you adjust into. So if you adjust 3 rings into overpower, you use 3 rings of overpower. 340 yards is absolutely brilliant, and that is where we want to be. Second shot, we are going to go and check where is the bottom of our white ring compared to the top of the fringe, or like the end of the first part of the fringe, which is plus 2. Then we always, from 340, apply 3 side spin to the right and 5 bars of top spin. The reason for 5 bars of top spin is that we can play it with a lower level B52 and doesn't have to only limit ourselves to B52 level 8. Adjustment from the plus 2 fringe check is going to be 81% slider, 45% elevation, power 2 ball settings. A lot of rings, I know, but this shot is absolutely money because there is a slight funnel on the green which the ball is catching, which is really nice. Obviously, you're going to have to hit perfect, and that is what we do. A great left and a great right is still fine. I've clipped rough with both. And you can see here the ball comes in lovely, you know, left side of cup. But again, we are adjusting a lot of rings, so it is difficult to be exactly on point with the with all those massive rings that we're going to adjust. However, though, hit perfect on the drive, hit perfect on the second shot, and this guide and this play is absolutely brilliant. So for hole number 9, we're going to play a no movement drive. Don't touch the target until it's time to adjust the rings, which we will do immediately. You can obviously add spin first if you want to, that's completely up to you. Adjust max plus 10, power 4 ball numbers, very important with that. Once that is done, we shall push up the max and we shall adjust 21 rings for a power hook when it comes to Apocalypse 8. 19 rings for a power hook when it comes to Apocalypse 7, and 17 rings when it comes to a power hook for Apocalypse 5 and 6. Have in mind that if playing with Apocalypse 5 especially, you do have a risk of getting stuck into the rough if you do have a headwind angle from T. So what you could consider of doing here is to go for it, but you know, pack a club in the bag that makes sure that you do have the power enough to reach to green. You can also obviously just put it down there and just go for a sniper from distance, but there's such a great value in playing this power hook to get it up to exactly where we are now, because my plan is not to not clip the rough. I want to clip the rough and go out to 430 to 435 yards. But obviously, depending on wind angle, you can miss clipping the rough as well, and then you will end up into short iron, and the short iron is going to be played with 20% elevation and not the 45 as suggested. But that's going to be the minority of the times that's going to be the case, because we're gonna clip the rough more times than not and roll out and focus on to be in absolute minimum distance with our B52 or Grizzly for that matter. Add 1 bar of left spin always, and then we go with backspin so the ball guideline goes just through the hole. Adjustment shall be minimum distance with a 45% over adjustment. Now we play with power 5 ball numbers. So we do adjust for that, and then we shall obviously try to hit perfect. A perfect ball with this setup is really good. Make sure that you do set up the spin as quickly as possible, so you give yourself the time to be accurate by pulling more than 10 rings with the B52 or with the Grizzly, because if you get yourself once again the time to be accurate and you hit perfect, this one is going to be either super duper close to drop, or it will drop for a beautiful albatross on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division Qualifying Round Edition with the correct win. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure you get ultimate tournament guides for Master and get to improve your tournament gameplay already today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, or to support@golfclashtommy.com. Thank you once again for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.